Namaste. Welcome to Global Perspectives. In today's episode of Global Perspectives, we will be in a conversation with Peder Dahlgaard. He is an actor and the Vice Rector of the Danish National School of Performing Arts. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You have a unique background that spans education, management and acting. How has your role as an actor or experience as an actor contributed to the field of education, especially in private and public sectors?
Well, I think the most important thing is that being an actor is about co-creating some kind of expression that somebody has to relate to, the audience, for instance. So this is about co-creating a solution to the task that we are working with in a way that we don't know the answer before we start working. And this is a very important thing about both being an educator, but also being a leader of an institution like an artistic institution. It's about being able to co-create what the answers to the questions that we all work on without knowing the answers beforehand. And this is something that we work a lot with as actors, because we go into processes where we really don't know the answer, but we know that we want to tell the audience a certain story. So this is some of the main focuses that I have as a leader and also as an educator.
Since you are an educator and you come from an acting background as well, how does that experience help you in designing what type of strategies you're going to adopt to make your students understand and get to know the content better?
Well, I think first of all, also be an actor is working with your mind and your body all the time, because actors has this privilege of having their instrument in their bodies all the time, because their bodies are their instruments. So in that way, I think working with education is also keeping this kind of bodily playfulness in the processes that we go into. And this is very important, because this is how actors develop, is actually through the knowledge of being playful with your mind and your body, not being set in certain opinions, but actually being open to whatever might happen as you go along with the work.
What is one aspect about your career that you find to be the most rewarding?
As an actor, it is about relating to people, relating to other people with different backgrounds, and being able to make meaningful expressions, but also meaningful processes with these people that I work with. So sometimes the most meaningful thing is to sense that the audience actually can relate to what you do. Other times it's about, as an educator, to set up frames for the work that are surprising for the students. For instance, working with cultural exchange.
And how do you deal with that? How do you overcome it?
Well, first of all, to be open to certain processes that you couldn't think of beforehand. And this is what Glomus is about, for instance. When I first realized what Glomus was able to be, it was because it set up some frames that had the opportunity for the students to develop certain skills without me knowing what their skills would be.
Arts and education, they're often seen as separate domains. How do you advocate for artistic education?
This is a huge question, of course, because you could argue that we don't need art educations, because people would always have, make artistic expressions anyway. So why should we have an artistic education? I think this is a crucial question in regards to, giving the societies and the students the opportunity of actually focusing on what art could be. And this requires time, it requires resources. So in that sense, I think it's so important that we have some kind of prioritized or institutions that prioritize giving time to the students to actually engage in their art form. And that's what it's all about, I think.
How do you see the sector of arts evolving over time?
That depends on which country you're in, but in regards to Denmark, I think there is a growing. This goes up and down a little bit, but in our country at the moment, there is a growing. In our country, for instance, there is a growing feeling of art as being important for the whole society, and that, of course, affects our institutions. Because in a way you could say that art is the material that holds the bricks together in the house of the society.
Since technology has influenced almost all the sectors, it has also had its influence in arts education. Could you tell us something about that?
First of all, educating performing artists we've always had this dilemma between the technological development and the art form itself. So we try to see the art form as it has been seen for centuries, as an art form that is based on the bodily work, the musicality, the ability to relate to a living audience, but also, of course, to be able to relate to an invisible audience as when we do film and TV and stuff like that. So in that way, we're working on both, but we are not afraid of the technology. We are just very interested in the living relation between the performing artists and the audience. And that will never be ruined by technological developments.
Is there any strategy that you could think of to balance these two aspects, technology and maintaining what's already there?
That's a good question. I think it is a difficult balance, because I can see that young students are coming in with a lot of technological skills, and they do like to do their own films on their iPhones or their telephones, and therefore I think we are a little bit eager to tell them about normal human relationships and why that is important. And that's also why we do these Glomus camps, actually to make the human intercultural meeting possible still. We could meet on Zoom, we could meet on all these platforms, but meeting in the real world, body to body,
human connections are something different.
Yes, you have to acknowledge that.
Could you tell us something about your roles and responsibilities as the Vice Rector of Danish School of Performing Arts?
I sense the responsibility of keeping the art educations relevant, and relevant for the students, but also relevant for the society. And that means that we should always be ready to rethink how we develop the curriculum, for instance. Is it still relevant what we do, both for the students as they go on with their artistic lives, but also for the society?
So what are your criteria to judge that the curriculum is still relevant?
First of all, do the students actually go out and work? Do they work with what they believe in? And are they able to tell the stories that they want to tell? And of course, so I'm following the educated students. I'm always following what they do, trying to find out what we have given them, so that we are sure that they actually can use what we try to learn them at the school.
How often do you think it is necessary for the curriculum to be updated so that it can stay relevant?
Every third year. When we have finished working with the revision that we just finished, we start working on the next. I think it's a long process, and it's an ongoing process.
Right.
And we should continue doing that, because otherwise we tend to, in a way, be set in certain solutions and mindsets. And as educators, as leaders, we need to be open to new ways of thinking. So we always need to revise what we think is the truth about art education.
For the students who want to pursue a career in performing arts, what do you think are the most important skills that they would require?
First of all, skills that, the Danish National School of Performing Arts has actors, dancers, directors, scenographers, and a lot of other educations in our school. And the first thing is, of course, do they get the skills that are needed in the business? But this is not all, because we also have a responsibility to look over or beside the normal concept of what the business is, and also encouraging the students actually to define what the business is, define what performing arts will be in the future. And this is not how it is when I was working as an actor. It's something different, and the students has to be able to define that.
How do you help a student prepare for the practical aspects of their career?
We have internships. They are going out into, first of all, theaters when it comes to acting education, but in the other educations and lines, they go in different ways of internships in organizations, in theaters and so forth. But on the other hand, we're also working on, as I said before, encouraging the students to create their own way of living in this business, telling their own stories in their own ways. So this is So I think we're walking on two legs in a way. We're both working on giving them the skills that are needed, but also giving them the skills to challenge what the business is about.
What do you think is the benefit of giving them this practical exposure while they're still in school or still in the academy, so that how do you think it helps them later?
Of course, it's obvious that it helps them in getting in the network, but of course it also helps them seeing what the business is, what the job is about, and also, to because if you don't know as Kjell has said so many times, if you don't know your roots, it's also your artistic roots. You cannot develop them. Mm-hmm. So in that way, you need to know about the artistic roots the art form is based upon. And that is what the internships are about.
Mm-hmm. What is one message you would like to give to the people who want to enter the sector of performing arts or acting?
I'm always saying to the students, be courageous. Do not conclude and do not think that you should live up to some concept of what it is to be a performing artist. Define it yourself, but define it on the basis of your own visions, mm-hmm. what you want to tell. And then we would listen to you. So don't be conclusive and be courageous and generous.
Thank you for being with us today. It was wonderful having you here in the show.
You're welcome.